So the new competitive season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel just dropped, and it's been like a couple hours. TLDR, not very shocking, and you guys probably already know this by now. Plat 1 is still the highest rank. There is the same ban list we've been playing with since the start of the game. There are no new cosmetics, no new story modes, and no new event. Now, to be fair on that last one, the XYZ event just ended. So the only big difference at the moment is that your dailies reset and your rank reset. So what now? Yo, what's up boys and girls? It's your boy Swolelax here, and I'm back at it again with another video. This time something just a little bit different. Today, let's talk about Season 3 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So if you guys log into Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and look at the Battle Pass, you'll see there's about 30 days left in the season. But there's 30 days left on the Battle Pass, and I know from a lot of you guys, and myself included, that we've kind of completed the Battle Pass to its entirety. This isn't a video about the Battle Pass, I'm getting somewhere. Essentially what this tells us is we might not see major updates to the game for another 30 days, effectively making it to where we get quarterly updates for the game of Master Duel, which I'm a little bit scared of. Number one, that means we might get a slow cosmetic trickle, which would be kind of unfortunate because there's so many cool things that we've seen from the leaks that we might not be getting until a little bit from now. Number two, if they're planning on doing events every 3 months, a quarterly event sounds good on paper, but in reality, your players might get bored of that. And then finally, number three, the game might become really stale. As we see right now, there is a massive player drop right now, and a lot of that might have to do with new players and more casually focused players not playing the game, but a lot of competitive players aren't excited to play inside of this new season because of the decks that are at the top. And so what truly scares me most about quarterly updates, if it is the trend that continues, is that problematic cards and game balance won't get addressed. And so today, let's have a discussion on some cards that I think need to be addressed inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel for the betterment of the game and to shake up an otherwise stale format. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave it a like, and if you want to see more from your boy, please consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I really hope we can do so. I think it's right now like close to something like 70 or 80% of people watching these videos aren't subscribed, which thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed and are watching the videos. I really appreciate your support. It does really help motivate me to create bigger and better stuff, and I hope that we can continue in the future. So thank you so much, and with all that being said, let's discuss why a ban list needs to look something like this for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Look, Cyber Angels are sick, and we're going to build a Cyber Angel deck, I also promise. But Ben 10 is a problem, and we got to talk about her. But I agree. So as far as the overall ranked goes, overall ranked season has gone. I think 3 months so far, a really slow start to the game. Maybe they're just kind of waiting, they're trickling in stuff. They don't want to make it too crazy for new players to be overwhelmed by all this new stuff. But in the current gaming model of like online games, releases, gacha games, battle passes, etc., especially in competitive games, you really do have to be keeping up with that content. You know what I'm saying? I don't always advocate for just new stimulation thrown. And I also like the fact that sometimes formats can be around for a while and you can really grow to like the format. Like Toss format was around for almost a year, and I feel like that format was actually like pretty skill-based, you know? And there wasn't a lot of new stuff that really came about. You know, Swolelax loves Toss format, check that off the list. But I feel like they need to do something about this current format to address problematic cards. I feel like they do need to add cosmetics and new stuff for players to get excited about and interact with. Customization is important. And then 3, they need to add more ranks, for sure. If they don't do anything else, adding more ranks at least will fix some problems and give some longevity and like delay some time before they can get those other things inside the game, for sure. I think so. Yeah, they've shown all of it and there's been leaks of it, but they're not in the game yet, which is the most confusing part. I kind of understand why they're doing that, because they want it, again, slow paced at their own setup. Maybe it's a problem on their servers. I really don't know. You know, at first I thought, okay, they're just doing stress tests for the first 2 months, and then the third one is going to be where they're like going off like lightning. Quarterly updates is going to be mighty slow if we get this trend consistently. Then that's going to be kind of an issue for sure. The biggest thing too is we have some cards to talk about that I think need to be either banned or limited. I really could care less about semi-limits and unlimits for this game. because I feel like right now these cards are the ones that need to be like mega addressed before they get to be a big issue. Starting with the two that I think are the highest priority for Konami, and that's True King's Ball Calamity and Heroic Champion Rongo Miniad. I think this is like kind of obvious. And if I hear one person say, draw the out, I'm going to drink some water, because man, I'll need a drink after all that. Look, cards that essentially, how to put this, limit playing the game in such a way that it removes mechanics from the game is an issue. IO is an issue, it has been an issue for a while. The only reason IO is not on this list, as you can see, is because weird part is in these best of one formats, IO is like, I haven't seen it very much. Vanity's Emptiness, IO, it's not as common as I would think it would be. It might be a problem in the future, it definitely would be, but as the current moment, I haven't really been seeing it like on ladder. And I've been playing pretty consistently, and I've only seen it like a couple times, and it hasn't been that big of a thing. And partially I think it's because the decks that are popular are predominantly monster based and monster not based as well, because of the decks they run. So particularly speaking, I think cards that limit mechanics in the game, like Rongo Miniad just says you can't summon. I had this great Cyber Dragon game the other day where I had like a really good hand. I'm like, okay, this has been really great, but Rongo Miniad said I couldn't normal special summon monsters. And it's like, what am I gonna do against that, you know? True King of All Calamities I can summon, but I just can't activate their effects. Also a problem. Also a big problem. And I can't just draw the out all these times. It's just kind of a big issue. These two cards, I think, have to go. And by proxy, I think Bird, or Samorg Bird of Sovereignty also has to go. In the TCG, it's gone, and it's probably a good thing. Not being able to target the barrier statue is an issue, for sure. And the deck's still mighty powerful without it. You know, you could still play Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk or Tri-Brigade Zoo with Zamorg Berg of Sovereignty, or without Zamorg of Sovereignty. We do not want this card. This card is bad. And that's kind of the shtick, right? Is that this card creates unhealthy interactions. All the cards that I'm going to propose to be banned promote unhealthy interactions between players. And I think that's something that Konami wants to limit. The problem is there's still quite a bit of cards that are showing that, you know, aka Rongo Miniad, aka True King of All Calamities, and also Samorg Berg of Sovereignty. Like, way too good, and they promote unhealthy interactions between players. Anyways, so after the obvious ones, Heroic Champion, True King, VFD, if you will, and Samorg, you gotta hit these cards particularly. Buster Dragon Whelp has to be banned. It's banned in the TCG. Union Carrier is banned, and I feel like Union Carrier could probably be still abused if you don't address Union Carrier. But this card's pretty broken with it. So you either have to address one or address the other. And there's still a lock, if I remember right, with a dragon monster of some sort that Dragon Links can do and similar unfair decks can do. But the fact that most decks can turbo out a negation that has Buster, you know, Destruction Sword, Whelp, Puppy attached to it is not good. Again, Scythe Lock, being able to lock out your opponent from the game. Which I think maybe, by the way, the reason why they're so slow to add cards is because they're trying to figure out a way to balance that out eventually. So that should be a given. Again, similar reasonings to True Kings and Heroic Champion and some more. Not as bad, because you can technically out this card with a lot of things. A lot of things can out this card, but not a lot of things can out the other ones. Ava and Benton, I think, are actually going to be for similar reasons. Ava is pretty bad in terms of interaction with your opponent, especially against Drytron. Inside of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, we never had, at least in the TCG, 3 Fafnir, 3 Ava, and 3 Benton. And that's what makes Drytron such a menace, is that, yeah, they're a good deck without him. But if you limit Benton, you have to limit Benton. Limit or ban. There's no other option. It decreases the consistency, and also, again, making unhealthy interactions. If I have to Ash Blossom this, which I might have to, and sometimes you can chain block that, then it just creates a bad feeling for your players and makes bad game feel. And it's just unhealthy because then you can search out worse and more toxic cards. That's not really quite the right word for it, I want to say. But things like Ava, right? For Herald, Ava is one of the big reasons why Herald's so powerful. If you don't have to get rid of Herald of Ultimatus or Herald of Arclight, because honestly, those cards aren't that bad on their own. But add Ava to the mix, you know, they discard Ava to negate an effect, and suddenly they have more materials for negates. This guy gives them infinite negates, practically. So even whenever you think your opponent has down to one more card, 2 more cards, whatever, Ava comes in and adds on more negations. It really is that bad. It was limited for a bit in the TCG, and it's got to go. Ban Ava. Ban Ava and limit Ben 10, and I'm okay with that. TCG rules there, for sure. Speaking of TCG rules, the other top deck, we have Tri-Brigade Fractal, and we have Fire Formation Tanky. These 2 cards, I think can get limited. Because, well, I do think that Fire Formation Tanky is a pretty good card for a lot of the rogue decks. It adds a consistency boost to most Beast Warrior decks. It unfortunately is essentially just a glorified either Zoo Searcher or a Tri-Brigade Searcher. And if it's Tri-Brigade, again, it's one of those things that feels bad because there's not a good way of handling the Tri-Brigades. But I think if you limit Fractal, it reduces the number of times they can actually get this combo consistently. Because most of the time in my Tri-Brigade deck, I'm running Fractal because he's a big body, he's got a great effect, and he loads the graveyard. Now, if you stop this with Ash, it's kind of over. But if you limit down to 1 and limit Tanky down to 1, it just kind of hurts the consistency. So the deck inherently is just less powerful. It's not like a broken deck right now by any means, but just a little bit of a hit to the consistency I think could really help make that deck a little more fair. Especially when we have Dryden in the game and the Zodiac engine is so powerful. So I think that's a good hit for it. And then finally, this is like a nitpicky one. I think Call by the Grave should be at 1. This is not like a crazy revelation. I think having it at 2 or having it at 3 is kind of bad. Once again, pointing to unhealthy interactions inside the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I firmly believe that cards that have little to no cost should be either limited to 1 or just banned. And this card practically has no other cost. There's no good healthy interaction with this. Like, sure, there's cards that work around this. Imperm is one of them because it's not a monster. But the fact of the matter is that maybe this is a check to Max C. But why would I not just run 2 of these in 1 crossout as essentially my third Call by the Grave? You're running a crossout to be a third Call by the Grave. So instead, why not play crossout? Why not have your players play crossout, which in theory offers a choice? You know, you can it deck thins, which is a good thing generally, but it also says, hey, you're losing a copy of Max C or Ash Blossom or whatever you're going to banish, so you kind of have to have that card in your deck. Versus Call by the Grave, which you can just put in because it's really splashable, it's really good. It's interruption on your opponent's turn as well. And technically crossout is any card you're playing. You know, I've seen people cross out Fusion Destiny, the TCG. So maybe this is not a good hit. Maybe this one is the bad take of this list. Everything else on this list I think is based. But Call by the Grave going to 1 might actually be the play for me. It might actually be the play. No, I'm not putting Eldlik on this list. No, I'm not putting some other decks on this list that might also need some hits. I think generally these are the big problem areas. You know, everything up here is bad. I'm more concerned about what's happening down here. But I'm also concerned about this. You feel? I didn't even have a chance to talk about Block Dragon. Adamancipator, that's all I have to say. Block Dragon, Adamancipator, goodbye. That's it. Banned. See ya. I don't have to think about that one. That one takes less brain cells. So that's my list. That if I had to ban / change anything, my ban list, wish list. And what scares me, if they don't do this next time, is we're gonna get some broken stuff. And the format's gonna be truly, really stale. For now, it's manageable. But 3 times in a row, I don't know if I could do that. You know what I'm saying? So, that's it. That's my take.